My name is William Wilkins. I work for the Fairbanks Soil and Water Conservation District. What I want to do is just cover our program goals. I'm going to show you some concepts and techniques. Mitch has covered most of them, so I'm going to buzz through them pretty quick. We're going to do site visits after we finish this. We've got 4 sites. We're going to feed you guys lunch. Then we're going to go to the Degoo's place, which is out off the First Badger Road, not too far out of town. And do site implementation. So we've talked about the trenched willows. That's one we're going to do out at their place. There's another kind of fill-in spot that we would like to do out there. We can't do it because of the high water, but you guys will get a chance to see these techniques and how they've been implemented. So quickly, our program is basically for restoration and riparian zone enhancement. That's what we're aiming at as the district. Maintaining or establishing vegetation, Mitch covered that. That's the most important thing. If you can maintain your stream bank vegetation, you're going to maintain your bank. However, if you don't, then we're going to try to go in there and reestablish the vegetation. So the two kind of main goals behind our program is to go out, look at your lawn, look at your property, see if there's any erosion that's happening. So then we're going to talk about erosion control measures. We're going to look at if you're fertilizing your lawn, proper rates. We have a soil testing lab here, so Joe would come out, test your soil, and then we provide your fertilizer rates, and then looking at and identifying any invasive species that you guys might have in your property as well, and then trying to control and eliminate those. So that's kind of the 3 things we're trying to do with our project, and it's to enhance the land for both you guys and for wildlife, for that salmon that Mitch was talking about. So the cost share program with the Fairbanks Soil and Water Conservation District, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has given us money for these programs. We have a small amount and a large amount for different size projects. So basically it's a 1-to-1 match. Let's say the program is, or the cost of the fix is $5,000. What we would say is you guys are going to contribute $2,500, and we're going to give you $2,500 for that. That's going to include any, like Mitch said, sweat equity, providing the materials, the actual work. That's included. That's part of the cost. And then us coming out to do the work will also be part of that budget. So the match program is intended to further restoration and improvement projects directly related to the Chena and Chena sloughs and associated water bodies. So the goals are to provide a riparian zone for revegetation and stabilization. I think Mitch might have had a picture of this one. And to avoid, projects like this, so that we're going in and fixing minor erosion and putting in vegetation where it is lacking vegetation. So that is one of the goals that we're looking at. We want to provide landowners, so you see this guy's got his lawn right up to the rock, right up to the river. We want to try to create a buffer zone between river and lawn so that we're avoiding fertilization into the river, we're avoiding chemicals going into the river. Natural vegetation provides a really good filter and buffer. So we would go in and try to do some planting in this area. And then we're looking at sustainable lawn care and identifying invasive species. Outreach, so a lot of you guys signed up at some kind of event. You saw us someplace. So this is an outreach event that we did, and we're showing different techniques. Mel's going to talk about a little bit of water catchment, and so this is Lindsay demonstrating water barrels. So it's a combination of everything. How can we go in and fix your stream bank, give you some vegetation, and then what else can we do? So this is one of those examples. I'm going to go over some quick methods really quick. So we want to provide a hands-on practical methods and techniques for improving your stream bank and improving the land for private landowners. So this is what the technique we're going to be doing today. It is a trenched willow. So they've dug their trench, and then we're going to fill that in with willows, and you'll see. And we're trying to recreate this, which is maintain the natural vegetation there that, again, provides habitat and prevents stream bank erosion. So situations like this, so the picture on the left, we see that undercut, we see erosion happening, and then the other portion, you've got tires, you've got trucks trying to hold in that stream bank. Again, that stuff's eventually going to come off and you're creating a problem for the people downriver too with that increased velocity that I think Candace had asked about. So we are going to look at techniques. So that picture on the left is that trench they had dug. They filled that in with willows, and then they are planting on top and creating some vegetation. Here's John Button's place. So we're going to go see his today. We have put in our soil, and then we've planted in our willows on top of that, and then we've gone back in, and on top we've planted raspberries. And so we've created a natural veg mat that's going to hold that top section and then prevent that erosion from happening on your stream bank. So we are recreating the vegetation that was once there. So trenched or staked willows. Mitch had mentioned this. So here's your grass. There's your root depth, right? That's that's what you have that's going to try to hold your bank. Now, given Alaska and the soils here, we don't know that it's going to get that deep, but it's going to be, quite a bit deeper when we put in willows, we put in dogwoods. That root depth is going to help stabilize the banks. And then that veg mat that I talked about. So here's Mark Johnson. This is going to be a site that we go see today. He's got his lawn going back up to the house. This is just a small buffer zone that he has between lawn and river. And he's got some willows planted in there, and he's got natural different types of native grass that are helping stabilize that bank. But he also doesn't have a large slope, so this is enough to kind of maintain the bank. And then that was that trenched willow on the left, where they then went in and put a veg mat on top. And I believe there's willows now growing on top of that as well to help hold that in place. The spruce tree revetment, we're going to go see this at the boat shop. So you basically have a double technique. You've got your cabled spruce that are here, and then above that we have trenched willows that are planted behind that. So you've got your spruce that is building back up your stream bank, and then you've got your willows planted behind that to maintain your and stabilize your bank. Then the Cadillac, I just wanted to show a quick picture. This is one that would be, and we've got money for these projects, but not something we probably would do. We would look at hiring a contract to do this kind of work. But this is, what you would do in a kind of a worst case scenario, and this is a side view and an overview of how those work. So, and again, Mitch covered those. So today, our work site is going to be at the Degoose. This is a picture of their looking out at the river, and you've got sloughing off that is happening up towards their property. This is where we're going to do our work. We're going to basically put a trench in here, and we're going to fill it in with soil and willows and try to create a natural wall that's going to stabilize that stream bank. We're going to go in and trim a lot of this willow. We're going to cut down a few trees, which the Degoose, probably are giving up and not wanting to, but they're losing them anyway. So we're going to try to fix that issue by putting in some willows to get some root depth, stabilize, and then cut the existing willows in there so that they can also put their energy into the roots and maintain that bank. So we've got about 2 hours to do that work, and I think if most of you come participate, we'll be able to do it pretty quickly. So current project objectives, we've got enough money for 2 large projects, so up to $25,000 that we can help you guys improve your land and save your property. Like Mitch said, you lose the property, you're still paying taxes on it. And then also providing habitat for fish. We have several small projects that we have funds up to $3,000. Depending on the bigger, we could go up to $5,000. We have increased interaction with landowners. We've had a lot of people get in touch with us, and the program has just picked up speed. And then again, we want to improve the Chena River, specifically the stretch running through the North Pole area out on the slough, and then Fairbanks with outreach and education efforts. Future goals and objectives is basically continue the work that we've been doing with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, try to continue to work with landowners, hopefully do some projects with you guys and have the word spread that we're improving the land, stopping erosion, and improving the river. We want to increase the number of restoration projects, so we're looking at trying to do 5 to 7 this year. So if we can get in line and do 7 to 10 each year, that is going to improve the local resources. Again, providing further opportunities for teaching, so holding more workshops, try to do a couple of these a year, show techniques. If we can show you guys how to do the work, then we can step back and allow you guys to do it, and it's less cost to do the restoration. And then finally, just more outreach for landowners on the Chena River and associated bodies of water. And hopefully you guys have neighbors that will take note of what we're doing and how we're doing the work, and then that will just spread. So that was just a quick chat about our program, how we're doing it, and how it works.